Hello, Alex, the Bacano insurance journalist. I want to talk to you about a topic that really has me interested, a topic that really has resonated with me lately. It is a topic regarding trucking companies, and being sued. There's a reason why. It ties into insurance. Let's learn more. So trucking companies. When we think trucking companies, we're thinking about some companies that are national scope, right? We're often confusing trucking companies with actual, stores. We're talking about Walmart, we're talking about Target, because often when we see these trucks, they have the branding for Walmart, they have the branding for Target. And what we're not seeing is that there are oftentimes independent trucking companies that are driving these things from one destination to another. And they are not as massive as you think they are. Of course, there's some big conglomerates out there that are publicly traded, but oftentimes these companies are middle to small size. Sometimes they're even independent contractors. And here's where it becomes tricky, because regular insurance has coverage, right? We all know that. We're talking about liability coverage on these other things. So if you get into an accident, it's going to cover up to a certain amount. And this for us is sufficient. We're talking about maybe $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 right in coverage. But trucking companies have different realities. The amount of risk that they take on when they drive a truck is astronomical. It's almost unquantifiable, even more so than a car. So their insurance coverage limits are massive. Imagine $1 million+ insurance coverage limits. So what is the outcome here? It means that when they get into an accident and someone is hurt or killed, the lawyers see ching immediately. You're seeing companies that are sitting out there with these massive coverages, right? And in order to avoid bad publicity in an event of a serious accident, they're more than willing oftentimes to just settle. And that leads to a continuous behavior cycling, a circling, in which attorneys are actually making quite a lot of cash just simply putting out commercials saying, hey, listen, you got hit, come over, this happened to you, et cetera, et cetera. And people flock to the attorneys end up suing the companies. They get so backlogged on lawsuits that is incredible, and they're making hand over fist in the process. Unfortunately, what's happening though is that those independent companies, those smaller entities, are being sued out of existence. Maybe their insurance rates go up to the point where they can't even stay in business. And then that becomes a bigger issue when we're talking about all the logistics and problems that we're having with supply in our country recently because of coronavirus or whatever else situation around the world regarding this or regarding that. It's super complex. But insurance plays a massive role in this. It's gotten to the point that here in the state of Texas, they've gone and done something that, who knows if it's a good call or a bad call, or if it's a good decision or a bad decision. They decided to go ahead and create two separate parties within a lawsuit. So when a person sues, the trucking company is named as well as the driver. You and I all know do not have access to unlimited funds. They can't fight cases like this. Not necessarily a good solution, but it is what's been proposed, it was being advanced as sort of a way to change that, to make these lawsuits more difficult to file or to process or do whatever. And it all begins and ends with insurance. Now, what are some things that companies can do? If you're an independent trucking firm or you're a trucking company, you can probably sit there and implement safety programs. You make sure that you have a culture where if a driver is exhausted or not feeling well, they can communicate that. They can say, look, I'm not in a state of mind or state of health to take on this responsibility. In today's shortage of driver situation, who knows, right? Additionally, too, there's also constant turnover in the trucking industry. It's not necessarily an easy profession to be in. It's, time-consuming traveling back and forth all the time between destinations, never being able to take care of yourself. So there's also that to that as well. That has to be balanced within that. And lastly, what can also take place too is just a culture of being able to accept fault, but not accept fault like, just settle because there was an accident. I'm talking about accept fault and change from it to say, look, there was a mishap, there was an accident. Implement practices driven by those accidents and understanding how to prevent those things from happening in the future. What are the consequences, right? As insurance rates rise, as companies go out, logistics become even more difficult. And in addition to that too, the price of produce or products just seems to increase as well on top of just regular traditional inflation. So we're ultimately all caught in this vice. Here's the thing. If you are not familiar with insurance and concepts of insurance, don't worry, I got you. Go ahead and take a look at the videos that I've shared with you before, talking about dental, car insurance, life insurance, you name it. It's all there, health insurance. make sure to check it out. It might give you additional information that you may not understand, may not know about these topics, which may very well be beneficial to you, because now that you understand insurance, you're able to then understand exactly how much coverage protection you have and to structure accordingly. If you have something to share regarding this topic, maybe you were in an accident, maybe you witnessed an accident, maybe you were part of a lawsuit or something, I don't know, whatever it may be, feel free to share. I definitely want to hear it, definitely want to take it in, process it, because that's ultimately how we learn. Thank you once again for liking, commenting, subscribing. You know that it helps out the channel, and I appreciate and care for you all. Till next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.